Hi, everybody. Welcome to this session of what we wish students knew about college admissions. Good evening. My name is Nate Chu. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions here at Taylor University. A little about myself. I am a product of Christian Higher Education. I graduated from Taylor in 2005. So for you students, I am old. And graduated with a degree in marketing. Spent about 4 years in Chicago working in advertising. And then in 2009, God called my wife and I back here to Taylor. So I've been in enrollment here at Taylor for the last 10, 11 years. I met my wife here at Taylor. We're both marketing majors. She is the university archivist and librarian. So if you're interested about Taylor's history, please contact her. I love enrollment. I love the world that I work in. I also love Taylor University. So I need to warn you guys that I am very biased towards Taylor, but at the same time, I will try to keep this as non-Taylor centric as possible. I'm excited that you guys are considering Christian higher education and that you're considering potentially enrolling at a NACAP school in the future. So like I said, this session is titled What We Wish Students Knew About College Admissions. I want to approach this from an insider perspective, right? Give you guys kind of the secrets and the things that we wish you knew through this process. If there are questions throughout this, please throw it up in the chat, in the question and answer section. Bev will feed them to me. I would love for this to be more of a conversation as much as possible than just me talking. But like I said, I was a marketing major, so I do love talking, and I can hear myself talk forever. All right, so a couple of things that we really want you guys to know about this process, about admissions, all right, is that we are your friends, all right, that we in admissions want to be an advocate for you. All right, so what this means is that as you get to know a school, as you get contacted by an admissions counselor, their goal is to get to know you and advocate for you through this process. So I would encourage you guys to get to know them. Get to know your admissions counselor. They usually will have the inside scoop on what's going on at the university, kind of any maybe scholarships that may be available to you. Don't feel bad if you have questions to reach out to your admissions counselor. All right, every year I get a ton of emails, and a few of them every year will say, Mr. Chu or Nate, I'm so sorry for bothering you again. I'm like, please don't be sorry about bothering me. I love what I do. I love talking to you guys. I love working with students. This is why we're in this role. This is why most of us have a huge passion for students and for Christian higher education. So ask these questions, all right? Get to know us. We are here to advocate for you, all right? 2, I would love if you guys knew what your passion areas are. I understand that most of you, as you go through this process, will get the question, what do you want to study? What do you want to major in? All right. Now, when I talk about passion areas, I am not talking about necessarily just the area that you want to study. Now, that is important, and by the same time, it is okay for you guys to not know 100% what it is that you want to study. All right. I remember going through this process as a high school student, my junior, senior year. People around me, my parents, my people at church, people at my school, were like, Nate, where are you going to college? And I'll be like, I don't know. And they'll be like, Nate, what are you going to study? I don't know. I remember thinking my biggest decision is what shoes to wear, not what I'm going to do. All right. It is okay to not be sure what you want to do. All right. And be open to what it is that God is calling you to do. But I would love it if you guys could figure out what are areas that you're passionate about. All right. So for example, maybe you play the violin. All right. Now you're not looking to study music. Maybe you're looking to study business or biology, but you play the violin. And let us know that. All right. Let us know that because we can connect you then to the music department. Because did you know that there are music scholarships available to non-majors who play the violin? But unless we know that, we can't advise you to contact the music department. We can't connect you to the music department. This goes back to my first point about us wanting to be your advocate. All right, we want to fight for you. We want to fight for you to be here at the institution that we work at. I would love for you to be a Taylor. I would love to connect you with things that you are passionate about. Maybe it is maybe it is music, maybe it's sports, maybe it's being in the honors guild, or maybe it's other things that you're passionate about. We want to connect you with that, all right? Going along with that, at the same time, as you go through this process, I would encourage you guys to know what are I would call the deal breakers in your decision. All right, what are things that you want in your college experience, and what are things that you need in your college experience? Right, those things are different. All right. So, for example, Taylor, we are located in rural Indiana. All right. 3 sides of the school is surrounded by cornfields. Right? We love it. We love that. We love this, but I also understand that this is not the right environment for every student. Right? If one of your priorities in your college experience is to be in an urban setting, please don't come to Taylor. Right? There are some great schools in urban settings, great Christian colleges that you should look at. But you have to know what are these things that are deal breakers in your decision process. Right? A great way to figure that out is to visit. I know it's a little tougher now with COVID precautions, with COVID policies put in place by different schools about visiting. But as much as possible, visit a school. All right, and when you do visit, I would encourage you to meet with a professor in the area of study that you're interested in, but also, if possible, meet with people in the areas that you're passionate about, right? And come prepared during a visit. Right? Come prepared to ask questions. Right? This should be during a visit. It should be a conversation between you and a faculty member. Right? It's as much as them trying to get to know you as you're trying to get to know their department and their programs. All right. Lastly, guys, it is okay for you to tell me that you're no longer interested. All right. Don't feel bad if you have decided on a different school, wherever you're doing the process. Maybe you've just applied, maybe you've been accepted, maybe for whatever reason. All right. So at Taylor, we have 5 full-time admissions counselors. All right. There's 7 of us that do recruiting. Our goal is to bring in around 450 freshmen every year. All right, so you do the math. That comes down to 90 kids each, or around there. We start off with around 65,000 names. If you know that you don't want to be a Taylor, or this is not where you're being called to be, please let us know. It is okay to not be sure. I'm sorry, to not attend Taylor. It is okay that you tell us. In fact, I want you. Now, if you are considering Taylor, I would love to talk to you. I'd love to talk to you more about what we do, what we're doing here, but also about Christian higher education in general. All right. I do want to leave some time for you guys. I know that there is a college fair at around 7. But I'll leave some time for questions. What questions do you guys have? Pick my brain, pick Bev's brain about admissions, about the admissions process, about what about different schools.
All right. As Nate has just said, if there are any questions, please throw those up in the chat area, in the Q&A area, and I will be sure to pass those on to him. Nate, I have a question for you. Are there certain misconceptions that you hear from people about maybe Christian colleges or universities in general, or maybe misconceptions of admission counselors that you've heard of? I know you've addressed some of them, but
yeah, I would say probably one of the biggest misconception about Christian colleges is that they're all the same. All right, that one Christian college is the same as a different Christian college. And when you guys are talking to your admissions counselor, when you're visiting, one of the questions I would encourage you to ask is, how is your school different? Right? How is it distinct from XYZ Christian school? Because as you dig into it, you slowly start to realize they're not all the same, right? There are a lot of similarities, obviously, but they're not all the same. All right. One great tip that I would encourage you guys to do when you visit is to bring a notebook. All right. And after you visit, just write down some notes. Write down some notes about your thoughts about what you liked, what you didn't like. Here's why. All right. A lot of us, me especially, like I have this idea that I have a better memory than I really do. All right. That as I visit schools, I will remember all the details. Right. The problem is after 5, 6, 7 visits, things start blending in together, and you start forgetting, okay, who was it that said what where? All right. But if you write it down, right, you can refer back and say, okay, this is what I thought about this school. This is what I liked about this school. This is what I did not like. Write down what you felt, how you felt about it. All right. So much of this comes down to, okay, can this be a place where I fit in? Not just fit in, but can this be a place where I find a place that I belong to? All right. So do write that down. There's a question about how early in the application process should you plan to meet with an admissions counselor? All right. So there's kind of two times where I think it makes sense to meet with an admissions counselor. All right. One of them would be as you are exploring schools, as you're figuring out kind of, hey, what are the different schools I like? Maybe this might be like your junior year or beginning of your senior year. All right. Like, so for us here, Taylor, if I have a meeting with a student who's a junior or beginning senior year, and this is like, the first time visiting, my goal is, okay, let me tell you about Taylor. Let me find out more about you. All right. And let's see if Taylor might be a good fit for you. All right. Another time would be a great time to meet is when you're doing an application. All right. When you are applying for us, we require a student to either share their testimony, and they can do that verbally. So maybe in your meeting with your admissions counselor, it's a great time, especially if you're a verbal processor, to share that. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Question about how do we know what scholarships are available and navigating through that? All right, there's a couple ways of doing that. One would be on your own and looking at a website, right? Looking at a school's website. Generally, most schools' scholarships are listed under the financial aid page on their website. All right, but this is where back to my first point about your admissions counselor wants to advocate for you. All right, so for most schools, there are what is considered automatic awards. All right, so this can be their need-based aid based on the FAFSA. This can be academic merit scholarships based on your GPA and or test scores. And when I say it's automatic, generally what I mean by that is that if you apply and are accepted and you hit these numbers, you hit these marks, you're FAFSA a certain number, you will qualify for this aid. All right, you don't have to do anything else. You just have to qualify for it. You just got to do these things. All right, but then there are other scholarships that may or may not be listed on a website that you can either apply for or that is available. All right. Now, if your admissions counselor is not aware of your situation, or that you're passionate about certain things that you would fit well in for a scholarship, how would they know how to fight for you in that process? All right. These additional scholarships are usually limited in terms of the numbers or the dollar amount that's given out. All right. But if you get to know your admissions counselor through this process, and comes time during financial aid season, which for the seniors in this session right around now, I'm going to into next month, your admissions counselor should be saying, you know what, this student is really great and would fit really well for this scholarship. Let's give it to this person. All right. So yeah, so you can, I'll say, as a baseline, check out a school's website. Take a look at what automatic scholarships you might qualify for. But through the process, well, get to know your admissions counselor. The sooner that you get to know them, the more opportunities you will have in terms of scholarships.
Nate, related to that, somebody is asking, is there such a thing as a full ride scholarship for a school?
That one is tricky. All right, that one is tricky because it's going to be very dependent on a school. So I can't speak on how other schools are doing it. I can speak on how Taylor does it. For us, there is no automatic full ride scholarship. Okay, now that doesn't mean there are students who are getting full tuition or full cost of attendance covered based on a combination of academic, of need, on other scholarships. Okay, and this is where as you do your research in different schools, one of the questions that you might want to ask your admissions counselor is, are scholarships stackable? All right, and this is especially key for those of you who are looking to compete athletically at this level, at the collegiate level. All right, some schools like Taylor, for example, our athletic scholarships are considered stackable, so they will go on top of any academic merit or need-based aid that you might qualify for. And there's some schools that it is not stackable. All right, so you may be offered an athletic scholarship, but if you take that, you're not eligible now for any academic scholarship or vice versa. All right, so that's the term stackable is what you would want to use when you ask that question.
All right, great. Are there other questions out there? Go ahead and throw them up in the Q&A area. Nate, are there any trade secrets that aren't necessarily secrets, like we don't want you to know about this, but things that are kind of unknown? Like, for instance, maybe you have two applications in front of you that are the students look very, very equal on paper. What is the tiebreaker as you're considering them for admission and whether to accept them? Or, do you look more heavily at their GPA, at their test scores, their essay, letter of recommendation? What, in your situation?
Right, for us, it's going to be your essay. All right, it's going to be the tiebreaker is, okay, how do I put this where it doesn't sound bad? How much do I like you? All right, there's that factor of, yeah, maybe, maybe everything looks good on paper, good GPA, or maybe your GPA is lower than you would like. Maybe you don't test as well as you would like. All right, but if you can demonstrate to us, I am willing to fight for my grades. All right, I am passionate about the things I'm involved with. And there's this, that's a great question. There's this kind of misconception because every school asks kind of, for you to list your activities, right? Things that you are involved in. And there's this pressure for you guys to be involved with 100 different things, to be involved with so many things, and so that your resume can look great, all right? I honestly would rather see a student's application where they list one thing, but they can articulate to us why that one thing is important in their life and how this one thing has impacted their life and how they have impacted this one thing through their involvement, through their commitment, through their passion in that area, rather than saying, I'm involved with 100 different things, all right, but yet I can't demonstrate what I'm passionate about.
All right.
For those of you with specific questions about Taylor or a different school, I definitely encourage you guys to attend the fair tonight and talk to the reps from these schools, right? If you have a question about Taylor specifically, feel free to email me directly. Beth, can you put my email up there somehow?
Yes. Go ahead. Why don't you repeat it to me and I will type it in.
All right, my email is Nathan_Chu, CHU, @taylor.edu.
All right, I'm going to throw that up in the chat. Reach out to Nate. He's,
Right.
as you can tell, he's a great guy and he wants to help you in your college search process. We do have a question here. Do you have to be a Christian or religious to go to a Christian college or university?
Okay, it depends. All right, it depends on the kind of school, kind of Christian school it is. I mentioned earlier that there is this idea that all Christian colleges are the same. Okay, and this is where one of those things where there are some kind of stark differences between Christian schools. Right. So at Taylor, we are considered a discipleship school. What this means is that we require our students to sign a statement of faith, all right, to acknowledge that they have a relationship with Jesus Christ, that they are a Christian in order to be admitted, all right. Now, not every Christian college is that way, all right. There are some really great schools that take on a more evangelistic model of faith, all right, where their goal for their students, all right, so they will offer chapel, they will offer Bible classes, and they will offer discipleship things that goes on, but you don't have to be a Christian to attend the school. And then, but hopefully through your time at that institution, through your experiences in chapel, in Bible classes, that maybe, you know, if you're not a Christian, that you come to know the Lord, and that's a great model. That's not our mission. So for a student who does not have a professed faith, Taylor might not be the best fit for them.
All right, thank you. All right, if there are not any other questions, if there are no other questions, I want to thank you, Nate, for your time tonight, for sharing with us some of your top 5 things that you want to make sure people know about admission counselors. You guys are great, and you are a vital resource to students as they're searching for colleges, and we thank you for your time. And I want to remind all of our attendees that in about 6 minutes, actually probably you can go there right now, you can attend the live virtual Christian College Fair tonight. The focus tonight is on science majors, but you don't necessarily have to be going into the sciences. You can still attend and go visit the schools in their booths. Just click on the Visit College Booths icon, and then you'll see a list of different colleges there. Click on that school's name and you can explore their booth. If you see an icon that says live group video chat, click on that and you can talk just like like you see Nate here. You can talk to somebody and they can explain in more detail about their school in particular. Nate, thank you so much again for your time. And we appreciate all the insightful tidbits that you've shared with us tonight. All right, everyone, have a great evening. If you want to review this session again, it's been recorded, so you can come back and review it. It'll probably be posted tomorrow.
Thanks, Bev. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
All right.